Okay, listen. I know I said in the last video that I would make my boyfriend play this game, and I know that I've already played through this game a dozen times. But after starting a playthrough and seeing the intro, I couldn't help myself. I just had to play it again in anticipation for part 2. The Last of Us is absolutely my favorite game of all time. I played this game to an extent where I memorized every single line of dialogue. But no matter how many times I play it, I just don't get sick of it. This game keeps me coming back and replaying it multiple times in anticipation for the sequel to finally arrive. In fact, I spend so much time sitting in front of the TV with just this one game that instead of fighting zombies, I actually become one myself. Seriously, this game just gets me. As soon as the game began, I immediately started feeling it. I may know every story arc and every bit of dialogue for this game, but it still gets me emotional every time. This is where this game shines the most. The game starts off with everything seeming normal. We've got a normal man and his normal daughter just talking on a normal night. Yeah, that's normal. Things escalate rather quickly as everyone starts trying to flee the town. In the midst of all the chaos, the main character Joel attempts to flee the town with his daughter before being stopped dead in his tracks and being gunned down by rogue military personnel. Joel is saved by his brother and comes out unscathed, but
Don't do this to me, baby. Don't do this to me, baby. Come on.
what is this, up? We're 15 minutes of the game and I'm already crying. Fast forward 20 years and that's where this game takes place. The world is overgrown, the people who are left alive are forced to scavenge and fight to survive. There's a constant war going on between military forces and resistance, known as the Fireflies. Hunters kill everyone in their sights to loot what they can, and of course infected roam around every corner just waiting to ruin your day. The story from here to the end is just one long emotional adventure. Joel is soon tasked with smuggling a teenage girl, Ellie, to the Fireflies. This is the general storyline for the whole rest of the game. The game itself follows Joel and Ellie on this journey halfway across the US. The main focus throughout this journey, however, is on humanity and what becomes of it in a crisis. The game touches upon moral dilemmas throughout the entire experience. It exposes the dark and gritty side of humanity, but also explores the desperate and hopeful nature of these people. Some people want to do the right thing, and others just want to survive by any means possible. At the end of the day, not everyone could be saved, and that is the challenge that these characters constantly face. Conversations in this game get really deep, discussing moral concepts and death.
Henry says that they've moved on, that they're with their families, like in heaven. Do you think that's true?
I go back and forth. I mean, I'd like to believe it.
But you don't.
I guess not.
Yeah. Me neither.
Speaking of characters, this is a Naughty Dog game, so of course the characters are incredible. The characters in this game are developed extremely well, even more so than Naughty Dog has done in the previous game franchises. Every character has a real story, every character has real emotions, and every character faces real struggles. These characters actually feel as if they come to life right before your eyes. Joel and Ellie are the main two characters. Joel is who the player plays as throughout the story, and Ellie is the annoying 14-year-old girl with a swearing disorder that Joel is forced to babysit.
Shit.
Fuck you! You handcuffed
I
me!
need you to shut up.
However, as the game progresses, so do these characters' stories. They learn more about each other and start to create connection. At the same time, the player also learns more about them and gets attached to them. The rest of these characters throughout the game come and go. Some of these characters are more likable than others, but all of their stories are told well during the screen time. By the time each character reaches the end of their story, they begin to feel bad for what they've been through and the decisions they had to make. Just as the emotions start to hit, the game sends you off to the next step of your journey. So much of why the character development is so good in this game has to do with the gameplay. There is none. Seriously though. While the gameplay is good enough, there are lots of parts where you just find yourself walking around and crawling through cities. To fill up all this downtime, Naughty Dog has characters constantly talking to each other. This lets them dump a lot of information about each character and their stories throughout the game while you traverse from point A to B. The gameplay that does exist is fine. I mean, it's a Naughty Dog game, and the gameplay is arguably better than Uncharted's, depending on your preferences. The game is a lot slower and methodical compared to Uncharted's, and I personally like that. Ammo is hard to come by, so every shot counts. That's why I'm extra careful to take my time and line up the perfect shot. There is also a huge emphasis on stealth. Because of the lack of ammo, it's usually better to take down enemies in stealth whenever the option is available. A lot of sections in this game even let you sneak past all the enemies and avoid the engagement entirely. The game also has tools for you to utilize if you find yourself in a bit of a pickle. The environments are littered with bottles to distract enemies and bricks to throw. Threw a brick in the air! What kind of brick? It doesn't matter because a brick is just a brick. There are also multiple enemy types, which makes things more interesting. There are human NPCs that function very similarly to Uncharted, but there are also infected. The infected sections are a lot more interesting, as they add some scary parts that are equally fun as they are terrifying. Or I could just,
Come at me, boys! Yeah, let's go! Yeah. Oh yeah.
A bare bones crafting system is also present in this game. It allows you to scavenge for some materials and create a few different explosives, medkits, and melee weapons. While it's not much, it does add to the atmosphere of this being a post-apocalyptic world that we're fighting for our survival in. This crafting system also comes with an upgrade system. You can gain superpowers by consuming steroids and other random drugs you find around the world, just like in real life. You can also pick up trash and glue it to your guns to improve their stats, just like in real life. In all honesty, it is a fun little addition that adds a little more depth to the combat. When you're not fighting, the rest of the time is spent traversing through various environments. These environments are beautiful and the time is usually spent delivering a story through dialogue. However, there are some little climbing puzzles that usually don't have any dialogue and are really just filler. These parts are kind of boring, and usually consist of pushing a dumpster to climb on or pushing Ellie across some water on a pallet stack.
Alright, I need you to...
I know. Step on a fucking pallet.
With that being said, this game is still incredible. The gameplay may not be everyone's favorite, but the game is worthy for its story alone. It has plenty of charm, but also plenty of grit. It's amusing, yet it's deep. It evokes so many emotions all in one little package. It truly is a one-of-a-kind experience. I've already stated that this game is my favorite game of all time, and I'm extremely excited for the second one in a few weeks. The Last of Us is truly an experience that has to be had, no matter how it's done. Whether it be playing it by yourself, watching someone you know play it, or just watching a Let's Play on YouTube, it's worth to check this game out. The game without a doubt gets the girlfriend seal of approval. If you are seeing the screen, that means you made it to the end of the video and I appreciate you. Yes, you. Continuing with our trend of replaying our favorite Naughty Dog games before part 2 of this game comes out, Uncharted 4 is up next. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see us talk about one of my boyfriend's favorite games of all time. And don't forget to give the like button a little boop if you enjoyed the video. Thank you to everyone who watched this video. Have a safe and wonderful day. We will see you next week.